Hello, my little queefy slumber party listeners. It's your host, Tim Murray, and you're listening to the podcast where I interview drag queens, comedians, and Broadway stars about their sleepover experiences. And today we have a true drag queen, a true, true comedian, also an opera singer with a, say it with me, 6-octave range. Thank you so much. One of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. So much fun. You can see his Netflix special, thank you very much, called The Comedy Lineup. Also, you've seen him on The Colbert Show, on Seth Meyers, and of course, on Unfunny Gay Guys, my video. Please welcome to the stage, Matteo Lane.
Hello.
I'm loving this purple you have in your background right now.
I stream now. I stream on Twitch and play Fortnite every single night. That was my thing now for the pandemic. So I had to catch up with all the other streamers and get like a cool purpley light with every. Yeah, it's the whole thing. So now and everyone says it. A little bit. I went on a bunch of pitches last week, and every single like executive was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "A strip club. It doesn't matter. Like, let's just
let's keep it moving.
This is for the Gen Z trying to be hip."
It. Oh my God, you're streaming on Twitch. I love that we're all reverting. We're all reverting to teenage selves. We are playing video games. I'm going live on YouTube. We're doing everything that we can.
Well, when the pandemic hit, I was living alone on the Upper East Side and you couldn't see anybody. I stayed in Manhattan the whole time. So my group of friends, which is me, Bob the Drag Queen, Monet Exchange, my friend Nick, Jacob, we couldn't see each other. So we just started playing video games with each other every single day. And we would call each other. And 6-7 hours just chatting. It was just to hang out. So we didn't go crazy. Yeah. Then Jacob, Bob's boyfriend, was like, "Oh, we should play Fortnite." And then I just became obsessed. And then I played with Yamanika Saunders. And now I play with my buddy Donnie. And now I stream. And now I make videos. So I do like Liza Minnelli playing Fortnite and Call of Duty. Now I'm going to do Barbara Corcoran playing Call of Duty pretty soon. Like, it's just been, I couldn't do shows. I couldn't do anything. So it was like, all right, I'm not going to feel bad if it's in my schedule. I'm very routine oriented. So I wake up, I make my coffee, I make my breakfast, I work out, and then it's like at 6 p.m., I'm just going to sign on to Twitch and play Fortnite. And that'll be like my shows.
I love that. And you're having fun doing it?
A blast. I'm having a blast. I do not feel bad for playing video games. I love it. I completely just indulged. I was like, I love video games. I'm going to play video games. I got a PS5. I got a new TV. I got this shitty light off Amazon. I'm into it.
I'm not gonna lie, it sounds really great. That sounds like so fun, especially at the start of this pandemic, doing those Zoom stand-up shows to no laughter. I was like, honey, I can't do this anymore.
I didn't do any. I did one Zoom show.
I only did maybe 3 at the very beginning. And after that third one, I was crying afterwards because it just felt so bad in my bones. And I was like, I can't. If I quit forever, I quit forever, but I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. I know some people who did it because they use it as a writing exercise, but that's not how I write. So I was like, I'm just gonna play video games. And it ended up really kind of saving my life. And I met a lot of interesting people that I'm really good friends with now that I haven't met in real life. Like my buddy Donnie, Corey, and I, none of us have met each other, but we talk every single day.
That is so fun. I'm like, I've never signed on to there, but I'm very interested in that world because it seems like it's like that and TikTok are like the young people's games that I am. I at first was kind of like, well, I'm not gonna do that, and now I'm like, okay, to dipping my toe in. We're having fun. We can be Gen Z a little bit in here.
I can't do TikTok. That's the one thing I can't do.
Why are you so anti-TikTok?
It's another thing. It's like I have Instagram, which I do well at. I deleted Facebook. I deleted Twitter. I can't do TikTok. It's just so much like I do Twitch and I do Instagram and I have a podcast. That's it.
Do you have Whipple Wapple?
God bless you. What did you just say to me?
Do you have Whipple Wapple? The newest
Is that
one?
A Pokemon?
I just made it up.
Okay. I was like, but I believe you. I mean, that's like,
I know it feels like that, right? It's like every day there's like a new thing that I'm just simply not. I'm also getting these emails that are like, uh go live with us or like be part of our streaming service that aren't any of the main ones. And I'm like, what is it? How do people have that kind of time that we can do more than 5 or 6 social media platforms? I can't do
It's
it.
too much. That's why I look up to Fran Lebowitz, because it's like, you know what? If this bitch can still be famous and make it and be intelligent and she didn't have a microwave, then I don't have to jump on every fad and do, it's like, I think the one thing of this pandemic too is it taught me chill out a little bit and what's important to you. And if it's your friends and your jokes, okay, then let's all just take the temperature down a little bit. I don't have to rush on everything. And certain mediums fit certain people better. Like my buddy Evan Williams is like now super famous on TikTok, but that is something he thrives in because he does a million impressions. He directs movies. He knows how to edit. So that fits him well, which I'm like, don't. I would get on there and be like, I guess I'm Liza again.
And honey, I would eat that right up. I would watch you just being Liza on TikTok all day long.
I'll make a Liza TikTok, just her doing mundane things around the house.
Honestly, that sounds great. I would
Well,
be
today
very
I'm gonna
into
make some waffles. It's gonna be so fun. I made taffy with Mama. She was so funny. She was really funny.
that. Do you miss doing live shows? Do you miss live audiences?
Well, now I do them every single day. I've been doing live shows since April
Wait, where?
at the Comedy Cellar because they
Oh,
opened up.
damn.
Yeah, they opened up comedy club venues. I'm vaccinated, and all the other comics are vaccinated. Now they're doing vaccinated audiences. But every single night, I had 3 shows last night.
Damn, bitch. Is it fun to be back? Or is it stressful?
Yes,
Is it fun?
it feels so great. And I went on the road, so I've already started going on the road. So I've been to Phoenix, I've been to Madison, Wisconsin, I went to Indiana. I mean, it's like I'm starting to like get back into the groove of things. It feels really, really nice. And I have like a half hour new material. It's
Yeah.
very, the other night I was at the Village Underground with the Comedy Cellar, and there was about 200 people there, maybe. And it felt very normal. But then I really stopped and looked at the audience and I was like, this was not possible. You were not able to do this for a year and a half. Like, Matteo, appreciate this moment right now and have fun. I've just been having more fun on stage.
Oh, that's so great. Because I'll be honest, toward the end of it, for me, I wasn't having a lot of fun right before the pandemic, and I'm hoping that this will launch me back into that. And you were very inspirational to me because when I started doing stand up, you and Joel were like the only 2 gay men doing stand up. Period. And
I
I
get that a lot. I get that a lot from younger queer comics. And when I started comedy, um, the only gay male comics that I knew of were James Adomian and Guy Branum.
right.
That was about it. So, we didn't have much to look at. And I remember like me, Joel, Julio Torres, Solomon Giorgio. I'm trying to think of like my class, like Cola Scola, John Early. My friend Trina Wintour. Love her. A bunch of comics that I super love and respect. We all sort of bubbled up at the same time, who are all queer, and everyone is so different and wonderful. And it's I cannot tell you how much I love it because I feel like I'm a part of something really special, like a class of comics who are queer, who are not playing to the game, and that look, when I first started comedy, I remember there's so much internalized homophobia you break down. I mean, when I first started comedy, I didn't know how much I could talk about being gay. I was afraid to do gay things because I felt like I was going to be pigeonholed. And I really fought to like do comedy the way that, straight people do it or whatever. And that illusion broke pretty quickly because I realized, oh no, like I should be doing this for myself, not for anybody else. And I mean, even the type of humor that I was doing has changed. I used to do a lot of like very Kathy Griffin, Joan Rivers humor, where it was like make fun of celebrities, make fun of appearances, make fun, and it's like I've sort of given all that up because I'm less angry. And And it's just not material that I partake in anymore. And I'm more proud of the material. Also, your writing gets better. You become a better writer. But to see like, yeah, it's just very cool to think of that, like me going into an open mic with Joel Kim Booster and then 10 years later, just to see where we've gone. It is really cool to think about it. And I get a lot of young queer gay comics saying like, oh, thank you so much. You're the first gay person I saw doing comedy on TV, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a big deal because especially I think specifically for me stand up because you're right. Like I'd seen Guy do stand up like on Chelsea lately, but I also knew Guy as like an actor and a writer. And same with like John Early and Cole. I was making like funny videos like John and Cole were doing back then. And then I met you when we did Henry
Wicked.
Capersi's Wicked show. Uh Audience, we did Henry had this amazing idea to do improvise the movie Devil Wears Prada with the music of Wicked. And you played Elphaba slash Anne Hathaway, and I played like the blonde douche guy. And we did a number together where I sang Dancing Through Life, and we literally physically danced badly throughout the whole time. We didn't know each other, and we were like doing like this like lifting each other up and doing splits on each other. It was so much fun. And Pat Regan was Miranda Priestley. Bowen and Matt were they
Who?
insisted that didn't get to go
Yes.
to Paris.
I'm trying to think of the song that they sang.
They sang "I'm Not That Girl" about
That's
not
it.
getting picked in And it was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. In this tiny little theater in Brooklyn, and I was doing a musical at the time, and it had like just closed, and I was like, "What am I doing with my life?" And that was like my first time performing again since the show was over. And I remember meeting you, and Lisa Traeger was in it, and I think Mofai Pasek, and like all these really wonderful people, and just being like, oh, this is like a whole other world. You can like pursue this. And I just remember it was like truly one of the most fun nights of my life. And
Yeah.
even to this day, I'll look back at that picture and be like, wow, like look at this whole, I mean, that it really changed my life. Like I'm like now making most of my money doing comedy, which is
Yeah.
because of, like you said, like that class of people is so, it's cool how community can like foster that kind of thing.
And there's something unique about comedy where it's really the base to allow you to do so many different things. And I feel, like I sing, and I have a singing show once a month with Henry at Joe's Pub, and then I do stand up, and I do characters, and I can draw, and like, but like comedy sort of lets you exploit all of those things and explore them, and I remember thinking like the path, because I was singing before I was doing stand up. I was drawing TV commercials for a living, living in Chicago, and I wanted to be a singer. And I was working in these like strip clubs, these gay strip clubs, and they had these like performance groups that would come in and perform in these gay strip clubs. And they said, well, we will have you there so you can sing any song you want. And it's like the dancers could change and the drag queens could change. So I would go up, and like it was like 3 o'clock in the morning in between a stripper and a drag queen, and I'd be like, memories. Like, I mean, just like I thought that was what it would be, but I just realized when I saw someone do comedy, because I loved Joan Rivers, I didn't realize that was a viable option. I didn't realize that was a thing that was possible. Comedy just seemed like a clearer path than singing or acting or anything else, and so I just went down the comedy path, and it's been very rewarding.
Yeah, it's like it's it's very interesting because you can really fall hard and feel like crap, and you can really soar, and there's nothing like that feeling. Like you'll never
Mm-hmm.
get that feeling. I mean, doing theater is really fun and singing is really fun, but I mean, there's nothing like crushing when it's just you and your brain making your jokes in front of an audience. It's like, and yeah, like you're saying, it develops so many other skills, like your writing ability and your ability to really like riff with an audience or be prepared for anything to get thrown at you or fly at you. I didn't know that you sang in strip clubs. I've never heard you tell that story before.
Yes, my friend Jilly and I, there was a theater company in the suburbs of Chicago that, to raise money for their theater company, they would do shows in performance venues, which were usually strip clubs, gay strip clubs, or like, go-go boy bars in Chicago. And some of them were just gay bars and some of them were absolute strip clubs. This place, Atmosphere, was just a strip club. And I loved it. To this day, love strippers. To this day, love go-go boys. Love. And I was 21 and they were like, do you want to do it? You can sing. And Jilly was also singing. So I said, sure. So we would go every single weekend to a new place in Chicago, and they would be these terrible acts and dancing and terrible. It just was a mess. We were all drunk, and I would get up and sing. We sang Wicked at like I mean, I remember a stripper with a giant tattoo across his chest. He was a horrible drunk, and he was straight, and he would only perform in gay clubs, and he had a tattoo that said "Never Give Up." And I kept thinking to myself, it's too late. I mean, it was just kind of like, it was just wild. I mean, it really did sort of prepare me for stand up and open mics because, I mean, once you have a gay stripper, you're singing in between a gay stripper and a drag queen. Like, yeah, I can handle an open mic.
Yeah, you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
Never give up. Oh my God, that is so funny. What were your slumber parties like growing up?
I'm Italian, so I grew up in the same block as my first 26 cousins. So they were with my cousins. And most of my slumber parties were me and my cousin Brian playing video games till all hours of the night, pretending we were Sailor Moon or X-Men, playing Pokemon Yellow, drawing. Yeah, slumber parties when I was a kid were so much fun because it was always with my cousin Brian.
That is so fun. I'm Irish, so I have like a huge Irish Catholic family, and a lot of them are still in my hometown. So I have a very similar thing as you. But I was always jealous because my dad is the youngest of 8, and I have, like, not exaggerating, like over 40 cousins from that line. But most of them are so much older than me because he was so much younger than everybody else. So I never had like that full on getting to hang with the cousins, other than like a couple of them who were about 5 or 6 years older than me. But that was more of a situation of like, you tell me what to do and I will do it. Like, I just want my older cousins to like think that I am cool. But you had a bunch around your age.
All my age. My cousin Kelly's a month younger than me. My cousin Megan's a month older than my sister. My cousin Michael is the same age as my brother. My cousin Brian's only 2 years younger than me. My mom, I will say, what the greatest gift I ever got in life was my mother and my aunt raising us like brothers and sisters. I mean, my cousins to this day, I talk to my cousins every single day. They are my brothers and sisters. They're my best friends. I talk to my aunt every day, my mom, my grandparents. Like, we grew up very, very, very close. So it wasn't, there was never this like distance between me and my cousins. It was like we were the same age and we did everything. We'd swim lessons together, preschool together, communions together, graduations together. Like, it was just sort of, it was the way we were raised. Very Italian, very Latin, very like,
Y'all must have felt so badass walking into school knowing you had like a whole crew of people protecting you socially. Like,
Well, my cousins had to go to Catholic school. So we went to public schools. That was the only time we were separated, was during school.
Was that hard?
Yeah, it was horrible. We kept trying to convince our parents to let us go to school with each other. But my Aunt Cindy and Uncle Mike thought that their kids should go to Catholic school. That was more my Uncle Mike. And then my parents were like, no, they can just go to public school, even though we lived next door.
That is such a fascinating thing for kids, because that's like the culture of that, of like whose school you're at, is so real. When you're that young, it's all you know. So you're just like, my world is ending. I was on swim team always in the summer, and that's where I actually had like real friends. And I worked at the pool. Like, once I turned 13, I would like work there every summer. And those were like my friends, like people who I actually had slumber parties with, and I actually, would have my back. But then I went to Catholic school and they went to public school. And at Catholic school, I would just like walk into the lunchroom thinking every day, like, please don't let me say anything stupid. Like, please let these guys talk to me. Cause it's hell on earth when you're a kid.
Of
and you like
course.
find your people. You're like, let me just be with those people.
Were you made fun of a lot in middle school and high school?
I was definitely picked on, but I was tall. I was always tall. So I had like a really effeminate, really girly voice. And I learned pretty quickly how my older brother, who's 5 years older than me, is like was the captain of the football team and super mask and whatever, and we're very close. So I learned how to mimic him in order to survive. And so I would like go into school, I just start talking like this, and I started making fun of people to get people to as like my armor. So I think people thought I was like funny and non-threatening, but I was the only boy in my entire Catholic class not on the football team.
Mm.
And so that really sucked ass because they all had this one thing in common. And it was like that movie Varsity Blues from Texas was like in
I
West
never
Canyon,
saw
Texas.
Varsity Blues. Isn't that terrible?
You're fine. You're not,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it because it reminds me of like my traumatic childhood, but it's like the opening line is in West Canyon, Texas, football is a way of life. And like
Ugh, I'd rather
I
be
know,
face plant in a river.
I know. Ohio
God.
was kind of like that. And they would all wear on game day, they would all wear we had uniforms, but they got to wear button-up white shirts with a tie. And so I would be the only boy in the entire class all day wearing the normal uniform, and they'd all be wearing like a button-up and tie. And it just like I remember in this at the sixth grade dance, this girl, Jessie James, yelled out. I was dancing with a girl, and she yelled out, only dance with someone on the football team. You can't dance with anyone who's not on the football team. And the girl dancing with me like broke away from me and I just like
What a
stood there
bitch.
awkwardly. I know. Fuck her.
Fuck her. I mean, I was
Did you get
relentlessly
bullied?
made fun. Oh,
Oh,
relentlessly. I mean, just I was the target. I was the target. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school, but what was strange is when I joined choir, I had all the choir friends. And so I became a choir kid and I ended up winning homecoming king as it was almost like something was wrong with the system. I Everyone else was on the football team. It was me and six other guys all on the football team. And I realized well, the reason I won is because they were splitting the same votes. And then I had all of choir, which is like 400 kids.
oh my God. That's so fun. I mean, did it feel cool to be the homecoming king after like all those years of getting picked on?
It was cool because I won with Tatiana Rosario, who I went to middle school and elementary school with, and it was like six white girls who were all like princess, and then it was Tatiana Latin, and then it was like six white dudes who are all on the football team. Then fag, me, and we won, and me and Tatiana still talk. We still talk to each other. She's got kids, and she came to my shows in Chicago, and
Oh
it
my
was
God,
great.
that's so cute. That's my favorite part of doing comedy. Is getting to go to different places and honest to God, seeing friends from high school or seeing people from like years ago that you always will have a deep connection with, whether you talk to them or not.
Sometimes
And
I
then
don't remember people. Sometimes I literally don't remember people. Like someone messaged me like we went to high school together, da da da, and I was like, I don't remember.
because you were so busy dodging slushies and trying not to get picked on
That's
that
true.
you're
I
like
mean, literally like Glee, except without Leah Michelle. I didn't have, But
the
I
real
remember like
bully.
I quit show choir because I was so bullied that I
Fuck.
couldn't handle the bullying, and so I caved. And I remember I became friends with a bunch of my who are still my friends in the city. Like I was in the suburbs and they lived in the city, and I would go hang out with them on the weekends. And so I just almost completely ignored high school. But I remember memorized where I could walk in the hallways so I didn't get picked on, and it was not easy.
Damn. Yeah. That sucks. My boyfriend has a similar story. He was like very, very picked on growing up in like rural upstate New York. And he came out when he was like 12. When did you come out?
Oh, I mean, when I was working at Michael's. No, I mean when I came out when I was 18.
Me too.
The thing is, I look back at it now, I'm like, no wonder why a lot of the stand-up that I was doing before was so angry, is because I probably wasn't processing my anger towards being made fun of so relentlessly. So that is obviously what I learned what humor was. So I just did the same thing. Not that we can't make fun of people every once in a while. There are some people who wildly deserve it, but I think like, yeah, I probably was just like unresolved anger on stage.
Yeah. every time when I remember texting you when I started going to my first couple open mics and being like, this is hell on earth. And at first, it's not just like, oh, I'm embarrassed and people are looking at me. The narrative playing in my head was like, these straight dudes are not going to laugh for me because they're calling me fag in their head. Like,
Right.
this
Which,
is,
by the way, is why I think a lot of gay and queer people did not do stand up in the quote unquote normal comedy circuit for so long because of that fear. But then
yeah.
you realize once you go through, no one cares if you're gay; they care if you're funny. Which
Mm-hmm.
is why I have never felt more connected to any group of people in my entire life than comedians. I feel most comfortable and at home and myself around comedians, hands down, hands
Really?
down. Yes, I feel I feel like I'm very self-conscious about a lot of things. Like if you know, I thought when I come out, that'll be it. And then you come out and you're like, oh, gays can be very mean,
Yeah.
very judgmental,
Yeah.
very looks based, very, and then so you worry about how I look, how do I act, how I look, because I guess that's how I win people over. So whatever I had internally to offer was like fourth, fifth tier of important things to impress somebody. This may not be the truth, but this is my interpretation. And school, no; sports, no; jobs, no. And then it was like I met musical theater, forget about it. I mean, musical theater, I mean, talk about fake friends, phony fake people that I had dealt with, not for me. Comics, love. I walk into a comedy club and I know that I'm sitting between people who care for me about my jokes. They respect my jokes and they respect my work ethic and how I look and how gay I am, who I hang out with, how I dress, what clubs I go to. None of it matters. They think that, oh, he's funny, just sit with us.
I love that. There's a certain level of respect as well. Just even if people aren't funny, I at least am sitting there with a certain level of respect of like, fuck, you got up there and did that. You know how many people
Mm-hmm.
in this fucking world are like just went with whatever first job they could get that they're not passionate about? Like
Mm-hmm.
you got up there and it's truly like one of the scariest things you can do is to be like, this is straight up me. There's nothing I'm hiding behind. And there is you're right. There's like such a camaraderie that you have just shared that only you and those comics on that lineup, especially when you're doing a show, that you have felt with that audience. That you guys like built something together. You just made all these people's night together, or you suffered through like a
Which
really tough
is
crowd or whatever it is.
right. And which is like, I find criticism of stand up comedy from non comics is always baffling to me because unless you've done it, then you can't speak on it. It's easy to say, to make something funny, you should say this, you should say that, you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't say that. And then you get up there and you're like, you don't know. You have not tried to make a room of 500 strangers laugh. You just don't know what it's like. You
It's the
don't know what it's like.
ultimate equalizer. It's like the ultimate you either you can get up there and do it or you haven't and you can't. Like there is nothing yeah, it's not like writing an article and it's not like singing or dancing or something because I do think most people do think they can do stand up. But everybody
Well,
knows
right. The
if
the
they can
illusion
sing or
is exactly right. You watch Mariah Carey, it's understood you can't do that. It's understood I cannot do that. So she's going to be respected. With stand up, a good stand up comedian is doing something so incredibly difficult, not just the writing and not just the momentum that they're building and not just the rhythm they're building, but to make it look as if it's just coming out of their mouth in casual comfort, to be comfortable on stage is a great feat in stand-up comedy, to be comfortable on a stage. And people who do not understand, you can always tell if someone doesn't understand stand-up comedy when they watch a comedian and think, I could do that.
not. Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
because you've fallen for the trap of that this is something that is easy when it is incredibly difficult to do.
And you will never understand with what Mateo's talking about being comfortable. You might be able to walk onto a stage, grab a mic, and be comfortable and tell your first joke comfortably. You will never understand what it feels like to tell a joke and have it land flat and
Oh,
then still try to be confident and
mm-hmm,
comfortable. Like that's the real test is like anybody, people, anyone who's not afraid of public speaking can get on a stage and hold a microphone. But
mm-hmm.
taking that big fucking swing and whiffing and then still finding your way back is like, there's nothing like that. That's where
It's the
I really
worst.
struggle, is because like I'm still fairly new to it. So it's like when that happens, that's my narrative, is like, I'm a piece of shit. I suck. Everyone's calling me faggot. I'm so bad. And then you have to like undo that conditioning and just be like, it is what it is. It didn't land, and you move on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I now obviously I've done it for a long time, so I don't. If an audience doesn't laugh as hard, eh,
That's great.
I've got something in my pocket. They will laugh.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I got something I
and
can
they
pull
really,
on.
it's like when you walk with a dog. The dog will react by fear based off of you. So if I'm calm, the audience is calm. If I'm nervous and I don't know my jokes and I'm worried about how then the audience is nervous for me. Then they're not relaxing. Yeah. Then they're not listening. They're thinking, this guy's nervous.
Yeah.
So you have to go on stage and let them come to you. I used to be very like, love me, love me, love me. And now I'm very much like, you either come to me or you don't. But I don't care. I've got 2 more shows tomorrow night.
that is the key to doing this, to like, I think not just stand up, but being in show business in general, is not needing that validation. Doing it for yourself and being like, yeah, come to me, laugh or don't laugh. It's whatever. I'm gonna have fun up here. Because that's what I've been struggling with during this time away, is like, I'm like, oh fuck, am I just doing this to try to cover up all those wounds from middle school where like I didn't have the
Maybe,
validation?
but you know what? That's valid.
Yeah.
I have to pee real quick. I drank so much water before this that I'm like, I'm gonna ruin the rest of this if I don't pee. I'll be right back.
Go.
I love it. I'm like, I gotta go pee. Keep this.
Keep it in.
Impossible.
Impossible. Why are you down there?
Girl, why are you down there? I don't know where my other. Where did it go? I just lost it. Things are happening every day.
Remember when we sang that together at Pride?
That's what I'm referring to.
Oh. That was so fun. That day was so fun.
I think we started as, but the world are full of zanies and fools who don't believe in sensible rules and won't believe what sensible people say. And because those daft and deary-eyed dopes keep building up impossible hopes, impossible things are happening every day.
Okay, pure joy just running through my veins right now. Who needs drugs when you have harmonizing? Honestly,
that is how I feel. I'm not a drug person, and I'm like, I feel more high singing or doing stand up than I do like. I'm more like, things are happening every, like if I can hit a B flat in my chest voice, I'm in. I'm better than Molly.
Better than Molly. It's what you were talking about earlier struck something in me when you were like talking about the insecurity of being gay when you like first come out, and people are thinking about the way I look and whatever. I went down like a very dark hole in like my mid 20s, where I was like working out all of the time and constantly comparing my body to other people and not getting the results that I wanted, and feeling like just so stressed about being gay. And then I started UCB improv class, which I know there's a lot of things going around about UCB, but the one positive thing I will say about that experience was like, I remember once I started doing improv, I would walk around in the streets of New York, and instead of constantly thinking, wow, that person's so much hotter than me, wow, that person's so much hotter than me, I started thinking, I wonder if that person's funny. I wonder how quick that person is. Like that was the complete click, like different conditioning in my brain. It's kind of like what we were talking about before the pod started, when we're so lonely during this time, but finding time to talk to other people reconditions
Right.
you to like have more fun and be like less crazy. And
Right.
the same thing, like the more you do comedy rather than, you know, doing G and going to raves, the more you're going to look at people differently. And
Well, I mean, and also let me just say, there's nothing wrong with going to raves and doing G.
no, live your life.
Nothing.
100%.
But and two, I mean, look, in terms of working out, obviously I like working out, but I think people are confused. I wasn't always in shape. I weigh about 165 pounds right now, but 4 years ago, I mean, when I was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was about 130, and I could not keep on weight, couldn't keep muscle, and my thing was all, everyone with their body type deals with a certain type of issue, right? And so my issue that I was always told by guys is, you're too thin, you're too thin, you're too thin, you're too thin. And where other people are, you're too fat, you're too thick, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too whatever. My thing was always, the common thing was, you're too thin. So I was always scared, or just, I was always like thinking about how thin I was, but I didn't know how to change anything. But my sister happens to be an international fitness bodybuilder. And I remember I called her one day and just said, like, Kate, teach me what to do. And she did. She put me on a very strict diet and a very strict workout routine. And I started working out. And the one thing I ended up really liking about working out in a very healthy way, I mean, I don't do steroids, even though I would love to do steroids. I don't. It's like the 1 hour a day where I don't have to think about anything else. I can
Mhm.
just think, I can put on Mariah Carey and focus on my arms. As stupid as that
It's so
sounds, it's
true.
like,
No, it's so true.
yeah,
I always think I have missed that so much in this pandemic time, and I did not realize how important exercise was to me.
good
Just
for your
having an
mental
hour,
health.
not looking at my phone for an hour is like having a task to do where I'm not looking at social media is so helpful. It's like reminding myself that my body is functional, like that it's that I can use this, I can mold it, I can change it, like it can do so many things.
It
That's
also helps for stamina. I mean, people, yes, it's a vanity thing. Yes, I like to look good. Yes, it is a vanity thing, no question. But also, when I'm headlining and I'm doing 6 shows on a weekend, seven, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 6, and an hour each, the stamina it takes to do those shows, it's not just talking. I mean, there's times on a Friday or Saturday I get off that stage and it's like I'm Judy Garland. I can't move. I'm like in a wheelchair getting pushed out like she used to. Like I can't, I'm pounding Red Bulls because it's so much energy to be on stage and perform. And if I don't drink and I don't do drugs, I don't smoke. So I really try and keep myself healthy, sleep, go to the gym, eat well, because then I know I'm going to put on the best performance.
yeah, that makes full sense. 100%. And it's like, yeah, it's like another muscle, it's another thing. And what you're saying about like people, the way people were talking about your body, it's like I get a lot of that too. People are always saying like, you look too much like a model, you look too much like a supermodel, and I'm always just like, I don't know what you want me to do about that. There's nothing I can. This is who I am.
You look
This is who I am.
stunning.
You look stunning.
Stunning. I do like when you put up those old photos of you, like where you were like very seriously,
Super
you know what I
fit,
mean?
like thin, and yeah,
I mean, not even
I
just
know.
that. It's not about the body. It's about the look on the face of like, Abercrombie, come and get me. Like, I love that. The thing I love about you is that you have a wildly fantastic, great sense of humor about yourself that is not self-deprecating, in the sense of like, you're not self-deprecating. I can be very self-deprecating. You're not self-deprecating and like, look at how terrible I am, laugh at me. You're just so wildly vulnerable and honest about who you are. And I've, even from when I first met you to now, I see that you have completely grown into someone who's very comfortable with themselves. And just as a viewer of you and your comedy, it's way more enjoyable because I'm
Nice.
watching someone who actually enjoys what they do, actually likes themselves, and it's like a radiant. Like you watch you and you're like, oh, this is something that makes me feel good because they obviously feel good about who they are.
Thanks, Matteo. That's like honestly so nice to hear. Cause I mean, it's like it's a fucking, not to use this word, but I'm gonna use it, journey of like figuring out how to not do that anymore. Cause yeah, for so many years used like self-deprecating humor and felt so shitty, especially about my body. And now it's like, wait, what if I flip that on its head and I'm just like always saying that I feel good or talking about like how great I looked and validating myself. And then it weirdly just works. It just makes you feel better to do that. And I think it's a little harder. So it's like a little more fun of a challenge to try to write comedy in that way. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. And the old pictures thing has been really fun for me. I've never told anyone this before, but I all those pictures that I'm posting, I had never posted before.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Mm-hmm.
they're like these pictures where I honestly look fucking gorgeous. I look like
Yeah, I mean, you
so
always look good.
stunning.
I mean,
I
we
always
we
look
are
good.
always our hardest critic to be,
Right.
we are always our hardest critic. But
But what's funny
yes,
is
I'm
I
sorry, go
now
on.
now that I feel a little better, I after years of therapy and like figuring out what I was doing to myself with the way I was talking to myself, I look back at these pictures that are on my camera roll that most of them I never showed to anyone, and I'm like, whoa, I feel good now where my body is now. And I look back at that and I'm like, I was so gorgeous, and I was telling myself a different story and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable sharing them with anybody, or I was trying so hard to be the cool funny kid that I was like, I don't want to be vulnerable enough to like actually show this to people and hope that people think that I'm hot. But then
Right.
you get older and you realize, oh, it can be fucking both. And that's
It is
that.
weird. The concern, and I have this, I struggle with, is like the need to feel attractive in the gay community. It's rough.
Deep, deep need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people hearing this are rolling their eyes at me, but like, look, we all deal with it to a certain extent and to a certain level. And
And it's, I
it,
mean, it's a constant crazy thing to navigate, like
mm-hmm.
especially with social media. But even before then, it's like we, as a culture for the most part don't have kids, so there's a lot of and
There's no script. There's
there's no
no
script.
script given to us. I think straight people don't realize they have more of a script. Not everyone, generally speaking, where kids, middle school, high school, college, marry, kids, steady job, then you do this, you repeat. Gays, we don't have that. We didn't date. I mean, this is our generation. I'm sure things are
Millennials,
different
yeah.
now, but like our generation was like, you don't tell anyone you're gay or all hell will break loose. So now you've just got years of internalized homophobia, destroying your self-worth and completely fucking us up, not setting us up for a healthy foundation for a normal relationship. Then we come out, then we have no idea what to do with ourselves. We have no one telling us our history. We have no one telling us who we are. We have no one telling us what we can like. We have no one telling us we could be proud. And then it's like, we had to figure, now kids can see RuPaul's Drag Race. They can see all different types of queer people. They can see everything, everyone's accepted and love. And then we were like, I remember the first time I saw a drag queen, I didn't know how to act. I was like, aren't I supposed to be afraid of you? And what are
Right, right.
you? And who am I? And like you enter a gay bar and you've got 4 different generations of gay men in there, and it's like, where do I begin?
Yeah.
It just was like such a clusterfest. And now it's like I'm 34 and I'm like, okay, I know what I like, I know who I am, I know more of our history. I know, but it took me till I was 34 to really figure it out.
Yeah, the wild juxtaposition of growing up telling yourself, be more mask, be more fit, be more whatever it is to survive, and then coming out and encountering people who are on the other side of it, like drag queens or people who are being openly femme, and thinking like, wait, other people were just telling me something so different from this for my
Mm-hmm.
whole upbringing. That was such it I think for a lot of gay men, it's such a, especially millennials and older, such a learning curve of like,
Yeah.
oh,
To
I
be
remember the
okay
first
with
time.
my femininity, to be
Yeah.
okay with the fact that I don't sound like this, or just the poor gays.
I was just going to ask, who did you pretend to be when you played X-Men when you were a kid?
Storm. Are you out of your fucking mind? Storm. I have Storm action figures. I have Storm comic books. I've drawn Storm.
I've seen you draw Storm.
Or Aurora Monroe. Storm.
Part of me was hoping that maybe there was maybe a 10% of the time you played my girl Rogue.
Now I've come to appreciate Rogue more as an adult. As a kid, I wasn't into Rogue because she was too I wanted the sorceress elemental powers, anything that's closest to Maleficent. I wanted, and Storm was that thing. One of my favorite Storm quotes is, and she's so dramatic. My favorite Storm quotes is they were in Genosha and they had just freed themselves and they wanted to destroy this dam. And Jubilee's like, what can we do? There's nothing that can destroy it. None of us are, can break it down. And Storm goes, yes, but a power greater than ours lies hidden within the clouds. I was like, all right, I'm in forever. Storm, forever. He has not yet felt the force of the elements. Din, 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 din. The clouds, the lightning, and hail. I mean,
that's gay theme. A power greater than ours has been hidden in the clouds. That is so gay. Also, I knew exactly what you're talking about because I watched that cartoon television show over and over and over and over. My happiest memory of my life is and just seeing Wolverine break through with those claws. I was so deeply obsessed. But I love Rogue because she was ass kicking. Oh my god.
It's not done.
Hail! Fill the skies with rocks of ice!
There's more.
Increase the power. Maybe we can crack the superstructure. From the ends of the earth, send limitless cold upon him!
From the ends of the earth, send limitless cold upon him. When I tell you my gay mind couldn't handle Storm as a child, I, to this day, get excited when she uses her powers. And that music comes and, she was so good. Not Halle Berry. We're not even going in there. I'm talking Storm to the comic books, Storm in the X-Men animated series from 1991. Yeah.
Halle Berry Storm was not it. What happened? Do you know what happens to a toe that gets hit by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
Not even that.
Do
you know what happens to a toe when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to every. God, wake up! You're Storm. You're mistress of the elements.
Up, Halle. Barbizon graduate Halle Berry. You're better than this. Come on. Oh my God, that is so funny. I could talk to you all day long, but we have to wrap up with our final segment. Wait, let's have fun. In this segment, we'll play some slumber party games. Are you ready for some slumber party games?
Sure.
I have a marry, fuck, kill for you, Matteo.
Oh, God.
I know you do Babs. So my marry, fuck, kill is kind of hard. It's marry, fuck, kill Babs songs specifically for you.
Oh, this will be easier. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You have to marry, fuck, kill My Man, Rain on My Parade, and The Prayer, the one she did with Celine.
Kill The Prayer.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
No, she didn't do The Prayer with Celine.
Oh no, tell him.
Tell him not the Kill It. I hate that song.
It's so slow and so long.
I do like the Celine riff where she's like, oh, or whatever she does. I would marry My Man and fuck Don't Rain on My Parade.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you say it, it's so obvious. I feel like it's got to be that.
Because Don't Rain on My Parade is a fast song, but it's not a great singing song. It's very staccato. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and pop like candy in the sun. It's not a bit like My Man is like, oh, my man, I love him. You know, the hands and everything. Forget about it.
I love it. That is one of my all-time favorite songs. They're both really great, but
Yeah.
I love them. Have you ever seen Lilius White do Don't Rain on My Parade?
Oh, it's the best version of all time. It is the best version of all time.
It's so crazy how good it is. I mean, she's so
Yeah.
good at doing so many things, but that particular performance is like, wow, Mama, you were in it.
Was she in Hercules?
She was one of the muses.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite songs is A Star Is Born.
A Star Is Born, Judy. Okay, wow.
Mm-hmm.
They're referencing Judy with a little nod to Miss Judy.
Sure.
please.
That's my Judy impression.
Judy.
That's it. That's all. She wouldn't say show SHOW. It's SHEUX. Like, and come to the show.
Judith. What movie would you pop in if we were at a slumber party together?
You and I, if we were at a slumber party together.
Yeah.
Oh, something that's gonna make us laugh. So probably like with you, I'd want to watch like The Princess Switch.
People always say like 90s nostalgia movies. So that really just shocks me to my core. That would be the perfect movie for us. Just pausing it every 30 seconds to
every 30 seconds.
Shreds.
Rip it to shreds.
She was sitting right next to me 2 days before the pandemic at a coffee shop out here. And I was like, should I say something? I'm not going to say something. Should I tell her I love High School Musical? No, I'm not going to do it. And then literally the next day she made that video where she was like, pandemic, panschmemic, this isn't happening. It's not going to happen. She got like canceled for like 48 hours. And I was like, oh my God, I was just with her. If I had just grabbed Vanessa and said, I'm the ghost of Christmas future. Please don't go live on Instagram this week. Trust me. Just wait, Vanessa. Oh, and we were talking about Lilius White. I was going to ask you if you've ever seen that wild video where she's doing like a Broadway.com interview and they ask her about cats because she was Grisabella.
No, I don't think I have.
She was Grisabella in the original production, like as a replacement. And they're asking, it's like ask a star question. So they're asking her like about a bunch of her career stuff. And somebody says, did you like playing Grisabella in Cats? And she just goes, hated Cats, hated it, hated it, hated the makeup, hated the show, hated it. Next question, honey. Ooh.
She's right. Although she got the best song.
I mean, that song is great. And then other than that, it's like, what is happening here?
A waste of everyone's time.
I know you've read Mariah's memoir. Mm-hmm. Have you read Patti LuPone's?
No, I'm not a big, huge, giant fan of Patti LuPone. This is the way I feel about like Barbara, Maria Callas, or Whitney Houston, or Sarah Vaughan. So it would take a lot for me to sit down and read Patti LuPone's. I mean, I enjoy her interviews, that she's very candid about not liking certain things. So that makes me happy. And that one where she was like yelling at someone, she's like, yourself or your pictures, and you think that, who do you think you are? I mean, I like that.
Taking pictures. It's so good.
Because I get it. I get it.
100%. If you like that version of Patti, you got to read this book. Matteo, it will make you laugh so hard. I've listened to it book on tape twice through because so much of it is where she's just ripping stuff to shreds, being like, this production was a mess. I hated this person. He was a flop. He was an idiot. Like, she is a true diva. And it's so funny to read.
I will say I did not like her version of Masterclass. I saw some of it online and it just had nothing to, that play already has nothing to do with Maria Callas. And it's such a shame because Maria Callas and her real Masterclass and Juilliard, you can listen to them online. She was a scientist of music. I mean, it was so mathematical about the notes and using your embellishments and how you do a trill and the meaning of expression and what this note means and how we do that, and very, very mathematical. And then about the expression, when you watch Masterclass on Broadway, it's like, when I was young, I was a star of Vesperi Siciliani. And it's like, shut up.
This is not her. Yeah, you're a true Maria Callas super.
I have my tattoo of Maria.
I love that so
It's upside
much.
down, and I have a poster of her on my wall. I'm obsessed.
I wanna reform the Patty narrative for you because Patty is my diva. Like that is other than Britney Spears. Like I saw Patty in Gypsy on Broadway. I was in the front row. Please yes, please yes, always.
The thing about Patty is I'm not as drawn to her singing as I am some other singers. It's
Totally
a little too
Broadway.
harsh.
Yeah, yeah. That's a fair criticism, but she is to me the kind of actor that you're like, this is unreal what you're doing right
Yeah.
now. She can do a thing on stage that nobody else can do. Nobody can touch it. Nobody has the
No
kind
one can
of
yell at an
power.
audience member like Patty LuPone.
I mean, truly, but
I
that's
love
why her
it.
Mama Rose is so good because like Bernadette Peters could never have the kind of strength that Patty LuPone has, where she's like, "You are gonna get up there and I'm gonna make you a star," and you're like, you feel like you're being like blasted to the back row of the theater. Like she's like the anti-film actor. She is
Right.
like made for the stage. It's
Well, I remember my audition for Mama Rose. It was so fun. Fred Ebb was there. I remember Kate Thompson and I were at dinner once.
oh my god. Why weren't you, Liza, in this Halston TV show?
I'm furious I wasn't called.
I'm furious.
I actually
for
just
you.
did some interview as Liza Minnelli, and they were like, "Why weren't you called?" And they were like, "She was like, what did I say? I'm like, well, I went for the audition for the role of myself, but they ended up giving it to Hugh Jackman."
I love that so much. Have you ever heard the Money Tree by Liza?
No,
It's not by Liza.
no.
It's a Cantor and Ebb song. Matteo, you have to sing this song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. It's basically like it was from like a flop musical that she did in like the 70s or 80s, but she does it on some of her concerts. And it's like the whole concept of the song is like when everything is opposite, he'll come back to me. So she's like, the day will come, he'll come back to my arms when there's a money tree and the rain falls up. And she just like, and she kind of like breaks down the whole time. It's one of the best songs of all time. You gotta hear this song.
Well, I'm swell.
Liza, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh, thank you so much. It was thrilling to talk to you. I'll remember it.
I'll remember it. I'll remember it. It's so funny.
She said that on a Home Shopping Network. She was
I'll
laying in
remember
traction,
it.
and the lady, you know, they have like callers call and stuff. And so the lady was like, "Well, it was thrilling to talk to you, Liza." And Liza goes,
It was thrilling to talk to you, and I'll remember it.
That's a compliment to Liza. Not like I'll think about this always or I'll cherish this. Just I want you to know that I'll remember this. That's so funny. I'm not gonna forget that this happened. I'll remember it. Oh my god. Matteo, where can the people find you?
on Instagram at Matteo Lane, 2 T's, MatteoLane. And my podcast, Inside the Closet, with Emma Willman. Every
Listen to the
Thursday
pod.
it comes out. Oh.
It's
And you
so
got to
good.
come on the podcast sometime. We got to get you on there.
I would love to.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun. And listeners, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.